And we're back. We did not know this was happening till late last night, and we got Benz and young Ryan to come
Hi.
on, pulled Travis out of the mothballs, and we are getting the band back together.
Let's do it.
So, Dick's run. I was there, Benz was there, T was there half the time, and then we got couch tour with Ryan and T for half the time. So we're going to touch on some of that, I think, perceptions and things like that. But Thursday, I'm going to start it off with Mr. Couch Tour himself, young Ryan. What you got there?
So we talked about this before we went on, and I think, everybody kind of got this. They started off Thursday on a really, really strong note with this opening Sand into Disease, like great major key jam that then got dark and great segue into Disease. And then Disease had a great segue into Mule, but then it kind of went a little bit downhill
Very
from there.
short, very short Mule.
Yeah, which not a bad thing, honestly. Like if they had, kept going with the momentum from that, like I would say the rest of the set isn't bad at all. Very enjoyable, very well played. I think tempos were great. I think we've been seeing that, here and there this summer, where the tempos have been much faster than we're used to the last few years. So I think that was very evident in a song like
The
Heavy
Mule
Things
was
even.
a little faster than normal.
Yeah, definitely. It was funny. I could hear Trey start to, like, when he figured out that he was playing the Mule riff in the middle of the Disease Jam, I was like, oh no, like, don't do it. And then I saw him look over at Phish, and that was it. But
That was it.
it was a really good opening segment there. And just solid set all around. Ocelot is underrated.
Yes, but
Really?
it's a great piss song.
I had a hot dog during Ocelot, actually.
Nice.
Yes,
So
it was a very crowded concourse during Ocelot. A lot
and
of
it,
people
and it
doing,
stayed crowded
other
during
things.
Heavy Things.
It did. It did. There was no rush to get back. That's for sure. But then, Axel, I like Back on the Train. That's one of my favorite.
I think that was probably the highlight of the late set.
Jimmy. Yeah, I love it. It's such a fun jam, and they jammed it pretty well. It was a fun little tune. So,
Mhm.
that's good. And then Theme and Blaze on, whatever. Like, they Blaze at least it got Blaze out of the way for the weekend in that first set. But
Blazon has been very underutilized this year.
very
It has.
Very.
for what it was becoming, as far as like a nice heavy hitting jam vehicle. I didn't.
Yeah,
feel
or
like it
even
really
like,
ever got-
Deer Creek last year. Like,
Mhm.
but just this year we haven't. I think we've had one notable version this year.
Yep.
They
I'm
reeled
so
it
bad
in.
with the 3.0 songs. Blazon and Fuego I always mix up, and I think it's because they're both fire songs.
Fair.
Kinda, yeah.
It's the age of the micro jam.
That's it. That's right.
It's true. Yeah, no
Microdance.
20-minute songs on this run.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
they got close, didn't they? Wasn't one like 18 or 19?
Yeah,
Mhm,
they
yeah.
had a couple in the like 16 to 19 range. but-
Right. You Enjoy
Well,
Myself
that's
probably
special.
pushed that, but
Well-
it's that long anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't count Yem when I'm talking about 20-minute jams.
Right. Well, Fishnet does.
Of course.
No, they don't. I think they count Yem if it goes over 25.
Huh, interesting. I did not know this. And then we opened up, nice set break. Opened up with a possum. Were you happy with that, Mercedes?
I was psyched about Possum. I love a good possum.
To open a set?
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
I mean, and it was high energy. After ending the first set with Blazon, you come back with Possum, like fan favorite, lots of white lights, high energy. It was great.
Into a nice twist, Ruby Waves. I think my highlight of this whole show was Don't Doubt Me, A Wave of Hope.
Mhm.
Don't
knew you were
Doubt
gonna
Me
love
is
A Wave of
very
Hope.
fun.
It didn't jam get really anywhere, but it was it was solid and it was fun. Kind of in that Don't Doubt Me was a lot of fun. Like that little stretch was fun. Ruby
Yeah.
Wave was decent. Like I'm not a big fan of it, but it was good. It was well played. And then that Don't Doubt Me Wave of Hope howling stretch was just fun. Like it was it was fun. It's kind of like what you want with opening night. It's not too serious. Like people are going to bitch about stuff anyway, so kind of give them this to kind of play with and toy with. And
if I'm going to get a run of 4.0 songs, I'll take those 3 for a run of 4.0 songs.
And finally, a little jam in there. Like, the first time we've kind of heard that go that place, and those Halloween songs kind of do a little different than just be played and just kind of thrown in there. So I think that was cool too, to kind of test the water with that. And then, I mean, I'm sorry, but that Piper, even night one, that thing is still a highlight of the weekend. Like, that thing is fucking
I got reports from the field that people were getting injured during that Piper.
Jeez.
Yeah.
People get aggressive.
I pulled a massive, strained my calf muscle jumping up and down on the rail during that Piper. I got a little too excited. But I was going. Like, it was so good. It just went. And it still hurts. I'm still not.
You came out after, I was like, oh my man.
It was bad.
A lot of relentless energy in that segment of the set. Like a wave of hope too, like 9 minutes, but there was a lot packed in there. Like it was fiery. Like Trey was on fire this weekend in jams. Like I know the composed sections weren't the cleanest in some places, but it just seemed to me like his soloing and his playing in jams was just absolutely phenomenal this weekend. And I really hope that continues. I think it will, given how active he's going to be in the next couple of months. He's got a Tab tour and then Tab Goose tour, which I'm sure will keep him on his toes. And then, hopefully a couple of weeks after that, Phish again. But I really like the set. The highlight for me was probably Skoy.
Oh, did they announce
the
Phish shows?
They
announce
haven't.
Phish shows?
I'm saying I'm hoping. But the highlight of the set for me was Skoy fluffing the twist jam. I think that was really enjoyable for me on the couch.
Yeah,
I really enjoy whenever Skoy goes to a Phish show because then he fluffs worse than I do. And it's very
lots of live footage of Skoy tweeting the show.
Those were some good.
Friday night was fluff full. Fluff was everywhere Friday night with me too. We were both like, oh joy.
It was a joyous night. Friday night was a joyous night. But I mean, Thursday night, to your point, Ryan, like it was sort of the stepping stone to the ripping that would happen the rest of the weekend, which was awesome. And like he kind of came out, especially it took him a little bit to get their feet going with that, but that second set towards the end, he definitely was getting there. And that Piper was just fantastic. And then Hood was nothing special as an encore, but you'll always take it. And it was,
but it did continue its streak. It's been at every Dix.
Yep. Which was good. I mean, it's a great way to close.
Right?
No, it's Chalk Dust, Hood, and Ghost.
Oh yeah, and Light
got dropped off this year. Thank God.
Bummer.
All right, so Hood was what it was. I'm not a fan as an encore. I like it closing a set because you have an encore then. When it's an encore, you're like, it's like you take a deep breath and there's nothing for you.
It's always nice when it's sort of the first of a double encore is what it needs. It needs like a first tube or something else behind it to kind of give it that extra feeling.
I think it works better as the second set closer, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's where all the classics have been.
But I mean, I'm never, ever going to complain about a Hood encore.
Or I'm never either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywhere. I'll take it.
I might not ever complain about a rainstorm again if I get a set like we got on Friday.
Great segue.
Man, I mean.
Yeah, right?
We all
got knobbed to dicks. Okay, I guess I was the only one at Pine Knob, so I'm the only one who enjoys that joke. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, yes.
Good. Nice.
My dad was there.
Oh, well, there you go. But your dad wasn't a dicks, was he?
No.
Okay, no OR at dicks. Got it.
No, my dad was at Pine Knob.
So it was crazy. I myself left the show, had to go out to the car, put on my sweatpants, my sweatshirt, tracksuit. On the East Coast, we call that. And went back into the show, was warm, had the best time. I looked around, some people were soaking wet, and I was like, you got to be cold. But they didn't seem to be. I know that Mercedes did not leave the venue.
No, I didn't. And there was a point where I was freezing my ass off because I was dressed for 95-degree weather, and then you get soaking wet, and it drops to, I don't know what it dropped to, maybe 75. It felt a lot colder. So Skoy bought me a trash bag off of some other look, and I wore that to maintain warmth. I was already soaked, but it was just like the windbreaker at that point. the antics of like everything that happened during the rain just make that show so special.
Unique.
Like we had the naked guy, you had the dancing, people on the field. Watching them clear the field with that rope like in a line was just hilarious. And just like that's how dedicated Phish fans are, that we're all like, no, we're not fucking going anywhere.
No matter, there's a giant storm above, like lightning all around, and literally we were on the rail, and first of all, you're like, how are they going to clear us all out of here? Like we're stuck, and then they're yelling at you to move, but no one in front of you's moving, so you can't go anywhere. And you're like, well, so then they finally got that rope and started like making people move, but you were still like, I don't know how we're going anywhere. And I was terrified because I have a phobia of lightning that I've had since a kid, and like seeing it all over the place, I was like, this is the absolute worst place other than a golf course to be right now. I was like, how do I get out of here? So I actually got out of there and took my poster and a couple other people's posters to the car, and like sat in the car and changed and everything and hung out and brought clothes back in for everybody during that whole break, because I was like,
You could have walked in there with anything when you walked.
You bring it.
That was the other thing. It was insane. Like they literally, I got way up in the front of the line to get back in early, and they literally just opened it up and were like, just raise your hands and walk through, and that's all you had to do. And
I'm kicking myself for not going down on the field.
Yeah, I mean, well, then it was just madness. Like it was madness down there. That was the Wild West after that. Luckily, we managed to keep our spots on the rails, so like it was secured. But everything behind us was like Mad Max. Like it just got like you let all those, everything just came down, and it was like it was madness. And the crazy thing was, too, I know we talked about this before the show, and we'll get into the show in a second, but I think a lot of people were in the same boat I was. Like I was perfectly timed for once. Like I really had my whole drugs and mind and everything was perfect, and I was like, man, they're about to come on, I'm about to like hit it, this is perfect. And then it was like, we're sorry, and I'm like, what yes, and then it was just the worst possible situation. Lightning, you're tripping, you're like, I'm having a panic attack, how do I get out of here, like what's happening, like
Somebody was like, oh, look, the storm's going the other direction. I was like, it isn't, man. That shit's getting closer.
No, it was literally like 360 degrees of lightning in the parking lot. Like, you could see it everywhere. It was chaos. And you're like,
see,
oh my God.
I was checking the radar like frantically as soon as I heard that there was something. I was like, please no. And then I kept seeing like it just appeared out of nowhere, basically. Like it was like, oh, there's nothing. And then like 10 minutes later, it was like, oh, there's something, but it might miss them. It's like, oh no, there's a huge storm.
No, our friends up north were like, hey, batten it down. They're like, it's coming towards you guys. Be ready. So we kind of had a little bit of a warning, but you're like, yeah, whatever, sure, and then boom, and you're just like, ah, hell. But
yeah, it was bad for me because being in Eastern time, the show didn't end until like 2:15 in the morning.
Right.
Which I wasn't exactly prepared for.
And they still only got a little over 2 hours.
Watching it, because let's talk about that. I mean, okay, they open with a Carini because of the naked dude with his boots on, but brilliant and perfect, and
did a little Starship, Nothing Gonna Stop Us Now.
Which I just was listening to that again today, the show before we did this, just to hear it again. And man, what a career! Like it's just a great jam. That whole jam is just fantastic. It just goes. I mean, fun.
And they keep pivoting into Yem in the middle of a jam somehow, and I don't know how you do that, because that is impossible. But they keep doing it. It's so cool. Yeah.
And again, Yem in the 2 spot, just like at the forum show that we were at. Like having it
in the middle of a jam, just be like, okay, we're gonna start You Enjoy Myself, and not start it wrong.
Yeah, and nail it. And it's and again in the 2 spot, which is a different kind of set, but still
it would be the most played song.
True.
Yeah.
And then
this might be my first time actually looking at the set list, like from that night all at once. And yeah, it's hit after hit after hit till you get to No Men. But I mean, I like that one. But so that is where it
was short.
That was the slow song of the show.
It fit great in there.
Bangers only.
And it felt a little like No Men and No Man's Land when you had the people on the field and it was emptied out and we all waited out this storm. That was like pretty brutal. Like what she was saying about the lightning, like you could see lightning bolts, and there was moments where I was like, oh, they're gonna cancel this, we're not getting a show tonight.
Yeah,
when I left the thing, the lady was like, I was like, how do we get back in? And she's like, well, they'll just let you all back in if they decide to have the show go, like if. And I was like, if what, like don't know.
I'm guessing most bands probably would have canceled it.
Oh yeah,
They probably would be like, too much hassle. Just come back.
Well, especially
tomorrow,
because they
whatever.
tore down the
other
whole
bands-
stage because of the wind. Like they were afraid
Yeah.
that the stage was going to blow over, so they like literally lowered everything down and took everything
Speakers
kind of
and,
apart and had to hook it all back up again in like a matter when it was
Yeah.
still kind of
What was-
raining out.
What was really annoying from the couch is that I think because they took everything down, there was no camera on, so it was just like there are difficulties, stand by. So I couldn't see, like, normally when you're waiting or there's something happening, you can see the field.
Right.
So, like,
you could have seen the naked guy and the people running around, which
I
would have
was
been so
just
fun for the home
freaky
the home
show.
Twitter
crowd.
for 2 hours
Totally.
waiting.
Yeah, right.
PG
That
time is over.
suck.
Well, I had no service in that venue, so I couldn't look at the radar. Not that I'm a meteorologist, and actually, to be honest, I don't know what was falling out of the sky that night. Unidentified falling substance.
Good thing Skoy was there to tell you.
Thank God, and he's from Seattle, so he knows a thing or two about water from the sky.
Yes, he does.
Which, speaking of that, we could have gotten so many other songs. Like again, perfect night to drift through stormy weather. A perfect night for
Water in
like
the
so
sky.
many things to
Petrichor.
go sideways with that. Even a drowned or something, but they kept it so brilliantly right down the line. Vintage of like '96. Like it was just such a great, awesome.
Right.
And it was actually I know it was Jackie's 100th show. It was my 99th, my Gretzky show. So I was very excited that like that was like what they left me with. And of course I had to leave after that show anyway, and I couldn't walk anyway, but it was a great, like, it just was hit after hit like that. Fucking like Carini, Yem, Ghost any day of the week. Like,
and
boom,
they did the You Enjoy Myself jam. It was short.
Short vocal jam back into that jam that they do now, which
nice
is fantastic.
Ghost. It had some meat on the bones.
Yeah.
Well, and some of the songs you would have expected to get on a storm night, we got the next night, like Thunderhead and whatever the We Move Through Stormy Weather one is. I don't know the name of it.
Just while you're sleeping.
That
While
one.
you're sleeping.
Some of these song names, man, they're not.
That would be a
the
great
thing I
name
remember
for a
about the song.
podcast.
Yeah, but really great tweezer here too. Like,
well, out of that tube, I mean, that
so
tube,
minutes,
that jam in that tube is ridiculous. That leads into that tweezer, which is just so. I mean, a Ghost and a Reba though. Like, come on, we got such heavy hitters. You've got winners from jam brackets. You've got backups at number 2 place in jam brackets. Like, it was just a heavy hitting show, right?
1, 2, 3 of the winners of the jam brackets. The only one the first 4, yeah. We didn't get Fluffhead. That would have been the other one.
And then a Reba runner-up this year in that set too, right after Ghost, which was and then that
Reba's gonna be the 2023 champion.
Ryan, do you think that Weekapa is now destined to no longer be tied to mics and will just appear?
They're just gonna keep playing it whenever they feel like it.
Which I love. I think
this one was
so
kind of weird because it wasn't like, a direct segue out of the jam. Like, we've seen the standalone ones pop up the last few years, but like. This is the first time where they've played Weekapog and then they've played mics on its own. Because in the past few years, they
did that earlier this tour, didn't they?
Yeah, earlier this summer they did that again.
They
too.
did?
Yes. Whichever night they played Weekapog,
Blame Vegan Camp.
Yeah.
But normally the past few years when they've played Weekapog on its own, there just hasn't been a mics. Like Mexico 2020, for example. Like,
or the Runaway Weekapog.
Yeah, like there was no mics that came later. I think it would have been cool if they did like Hydrogen on its own too.
Yes, that was my thing. I said they should go backwards. They did Weekapog Friday, do Hydrogen Saturday, and Mike Sunday.
That'd have been fun.
They couldn't help me.
But again, what's the use out of Tweezer was gorgeous as always, and then getting that Weekapog out of the what's the use was so like.
They have the HD video up on YouTube of the Tweezer. What's the use?
Nice.
Oh, nice.
So,
and then as we talked about, that Nomans just fit really well in that Weekapog, in that groove. Like it fit perfectly, and then coming back out of it was so.
And it was nice and short. It was compact, which is good sometimes.
Kind of like the whole thing. Like nothing again got very far in that whole set, And then Bowie, Moon Age Daydream, which is fantastic, and then a Choctaws to close it out.
Yeah, and then Pebbles.
And then a Pebble. Yeah,
that was nice. That was a nice closer, and then to Tweezer reprise. It's great.
Yep. Which is what you're getting that, so it's great to have whatever in front of it. And getting a Pebble, that's only the second time I think they played it at Dick's, which is great. You don't always get it there, so loved it. Loved that show. Like it was a great way to send me home. So thanks, guys. Like I appreciated that.
All right, we're gonna take 30 seconds, take a breather here. On the 21st.
Oh.
Dude, come on. On the
Zoomer of the Year
21st,
category again this year?
we have the Wookiees coming up. All right, so I'm not going to say anything else about it. Next we have, after that, we have Live coming back up to October, November into December. You know how that works. We got a lot of good guests lining up. I'm not going to start letting the cat out of the bag yet, but soon enough we will be releasing some names and should be interesting. Ryan, what you got going on?
Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. I've got Always Almost There now does day after the show. So the day after every Goose show, if that's your kind of thing, at 3:00 p.m. Eastern time, we will be live recapping that. If you are going to any Goose shows this fall, Tab Tour or regular Goose Fall Tour, and you would like to be a guest on Always Almost There, please send us a message at aatgoosepod@gmail.com or at aatgoosepod on socials.
Nice.
Let us know. We'd love
We are
to have
planning on doing our immediate after recap shows, so maybe we
For
can
Tab
trade
Goose?
up. Yeah, for Tab Goose, yes. I'm going to go to the Patriot Center, so I might hit you up on that the next day.
Fantastic. Which
I
one
don't
is
think
that?
it's called the Patriot Center anymore. Whichever one is Fairfax, Virginia.
Oh, Fairfax,
at
Virginia. I will put you
American
on the list.
University.
Put you on
Nice.
the list. Well, okay. I've now. Wait, are we going back to Dick's now?
Yes.
I
Let's
just
go back to
flipped
Dick's.
to
Hop
I
back
just
on that
flipped
Dick.
to the Saturday set list, and I noticed that the Mountain Jam teases. Oh wait, no, it's still there. Never mind. I thought they got removed, and I was gonna be like, but there's a Let It Grow tease in Walls of the Cave that has not been noted yet.
Really?
Yeah, Trey did it twice over the weekend. I forget where the other one was.
I will have to listen now and see if I can spot it. I love the teases, as we always joke about the San Jose teases and stuff. Even the Starship one you can kind of hear, but come on, is it really the Starship song? I mean, there's so many other things it could sound like.
But it's so perfect, nothing's going to stop us now.
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
absolutely
Yeah,
nothing going to
it's
stop
just
us.
ridiculous.
And then to go back to Friday, I know we're on to Saturday now, but with the walkout music was Knock on Wood, which was perfect. It was just
Totally.
perfect. Both a banger and the thunder, the lightning.
It's great.
So good.
I love it when the walkout music really suits the moments and stuff. Like it's
Exclamation
just such
point.
a great
Tom, thank you.
theme
Cross-eyed.
theme for it. It's great.
Yeah.
All right, Benz, I'm going to let you take it off with Saturday. What's your
right.
impressions?
So, I mean, Saturday was, I thought it was fucking great. Coming into that, knowing you're getting a full show after Friday, although actually I think a lot of us were hesitant. Like, for example, Friday I had removed the ponchos from my show bag, and Saturday I put them back in because who fucking knows at this point. And I heard other people say that they didn't take their ponchos in, and that's obviously why it ran Friday night. But yeah, opening with Punch You in the Eye, just a great way to start it off. And Friday night, for those of us in the stands, Friday night we got lucky. We overtook that little wedge section, and then by Saturday I felt like we kind of had it down. We had all the same people back in the same section, had a very solid crew of great dancers, ragers. I thought it was great. Walls of the Cave, obviously a cunt song. Boogie On was a highlight for me into Stash free mics. That was a great part of the first set. I felt like they brought it down with Bug. I know it's a favorite now because of Joby. And, Bug's a great song, but it's not how I want to close
That
my
was
first
weird. Mike's song Bug to close the set was weird.
Well, normally there would be a Weekapog there.
Yeah,
Or-
but couldn't they have
or
done
like
Mike's something
Or
else?
Simple. Like, remember they used to
Right.
always go into Simple in the middle
Oh,
there. and
yeah.
stuff.
That's your
There was
answer.
no Simple this weekend.
There
Very
wasn't
sad.
Simple
No,
this
no
I'm
weekend.
aware.
Simple.
I'm aware.
I actually
Really
thought Mike's was
weird.
going to end the set, and so right as they were getting to the end, I ran to the bathroom to beat the rush, and then I did beat the rush, but just the rush for the Bug bathroom.
The Bug Rush.
Bug Rush. It was an odd spot. Like, I don't mind Bug in the set at times and in places, but it was a strange spot for it, especially to close the set. Like, again,
Bug
it
was
was
longer
Yeah.
than Mike's. That's funny.
it wasn't. Yeah,
Okay,
it was
wait.
kind of an odd.
We skipped over this Walls. We kind of glossed over this Walls.
You're right.
This is the longest Walls since 2004. Also the best
Interesting.
Walls since
That is
2004.
interesting.
And it's
This
an
was- I was
interesting
just-
place for it.
Well, you know what? The only other time it's been placed mid first set in I think more than 10 years was Charleston earlier this year when it got jammed.
Oh yeah.
But this was just it was so good. Like modulations were just so clean. They hit back into the song at the end, so clean. Like just Trey was on fire during this jam. Absolutely loved it.
A lot of moving stuff into different positions. Maybe it makes it fresh for them.
Yeah, and I mean they've been doing that for years now. But I love like I don't even know what to call for the opener anymore. Like, you know, like 10 years ago, if someone was like, yeah, you know, you're gonna get like a, you know, jammed out walls in the first set. Also, Yem's gonna be like a mid first set song sometimes, but also they have a second jam on it now. Like, Sample's gonna be a regular jam vehicle. Like what?
And then other stuff like Free has kind of been. I mean, there was
Yeah.
one this summer, but a lot of them have been regulated down to 7-8 minutes long.
Yeah, but I think Free has actually been more extended, you know, this year and last year than it has been in a while.
Right.
Free's having a moment for sure.
Yeah. Where was that Mercedes Blossom? You got that great
Yes.
Free?
Yeah, Blossom.
Where they jammed
Free
out
was
the end of the
fantastic.
song.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, with an
But that's cool. Like,
tease as well. Come on.
yeah, they're going into their 40th year. They're like probably backstage. They were just like, oh, what if we kept going on the last note?
Right. And like Chalk Dust last summer, they were finishing Chalk Dust and then tacking a jam on the end of it.
Yeah, they've been doing that for a few years now. But yeah, it's cool ideas. But yeah, this Walls is phenomenal.
It was good. It was good. I didn't realize it was that long. That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't either.
They packed a lot into a little bit of time. You know, at Dick's. Like, I mean, again, you said the era of the micro jam. We've been seeing that a lot, but I was kind of amazed sometimes. I'd you know, look at the clock, like, you know, a while into a jam. I'd be like, oh, it's got to be like 17 minutes. And it's like 12.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what? How?
That is true. I was surprised when I would get home and look at like the lengths, like Scott Marks' lengths or whatever on the songs, and be like, God, that was really only like 9 minutes. It really felt like we got into like a 15-minute jam there or something. But no, it was so. I mean, that says a lot too about how raging they are, and it's always so different when you're at the show or listening to the show. And
when I'm at a show, I have no idea.
Yeah.
No concept of time.
None,
I'm
exactly.
too nerdy to not constantly check my watch when I'm at the show to see how long it is.
Should we be getting you a clipboard and a stopwatch soon?
No.
Okay.
Coach out
Not
there.
that serious.
Not yet. Set to open with Say It To Me Santos. Kind of whatever. You're just happy the band's back on stage. At least that's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I knew that wasn't going to be the jammer of the set. Like, it was one of those situations where it's like, you know, we're going to get a 5-minute song to open, then they're going to jam something.
Right. And then they
Kill
go
Devil Falls was
into Kill Devil Falls, which was Steph's first Kill Devil Falls. She was staying with me for the run. She kept saying she'd never seen it before, so I was like, she got that. Skoy got his Thunderhead the day after all the thunder and lightning.
Oh
and
my God.
that was very cool to see him just like hands in the air the whole time, just blissed out for that song.
The Kill Devil Falls was not finished, correct?
No, it was not. This is the longest one since 7:31:15, which is the GOAT.
Nice.
Which again, though, is such an interesting, like Santos. I feel like they still haven't really figured out where that song they like it the most. Is it an encore? Is it a set closer? Is it like where does it sit? It's kind of it still floats around a lot.
I
so
see it as a set closer.
I do
a high
too.
energy rock.
So it's interesting that they open the set with it, and then you get the Kill Devil Falls, and then a Sigma Oasis. So it's kind of a weird, like it was a weird opening. Santos, Kill Devil Falls, Sigma Oasis.
Yeah.
Then the bust out of Thunderhead, which kind of made sense in Oasis, but was kind of a whoa, that's weird. And then MoMA, which in the second set is a weird spot to drop a MoMA all of a sudden, like
another unfinished song.
Yeah, and no quarter in out of that. As we were talking about, what could they have gone in mics? They've done no quarter at Dick's out of mics before, and that was set up there for it. So it's very interesting that was segmented in.
But not tonight.
Yeah.
What? But not tonight.
But not tonight.
But that's what I mean. There's weird connections and songs going in weird places.
Yeah.
But when you
kind
of like when you don't look at what's before it, like MoMA Dance, No Quarter, 2001, Split Open and Melt, like
hell of a fourth quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
I've heard
And I mean,
mixed
that no
reviews
quarter was
on the
awesome.
yeah. I've heard mixed
Always.
reviews on the Split Open. Some people say that they flubbed it. I didn't hear
Huh?
that.
I didn't hear it
That
either.
melt was ridiculous.
I think that's
Yeah.
been an MVP all summer. Gotten dark, out there, chaotic.
My
love
dad,
it.
like, you know, went up to bed like as melt was starting because it was late and he was tired. And while the jam was going on, he texted me. He was like, "Are you okay? Like, I hear yowling." And I was like, "Oh, that's just Paige hitting. That's just Paige hitting cat samples."
It was
And then
fun. And
then I got my fee, which was 4 out of the 5 I wanted all summer. So I got 4 out of the 5 I was looking for.
What was the
And
fifth?
fee was the 5th was Farmhouse, which I have already seen, but I wanted to see it again this summer.
Oh, you saw it in the spring.
I did. No, I saw it in Vegas.
Oh, it was Vegas. It was that long ago?
Yeah, but they did play it at Hartford, but I wasn't at Hartford.
Why would you be in Connecticut?
Exactly. And Makita, I'm sorry, my mic sucks. Can I speak more into it for you? Anyway.
He's very upset about that.
he is.
I think it just adds more to your run for the Wody as having the shitty
Janky
bikes.
Mike.
So, yeah, exactly. And the
Mike,
grass
of
wall.
Janky Mike,
behind
fake
you.
hedge in a garage for this. Like, come on.
For real.
She's just running
That doesn't
away with it
scream
at this
Wody.
point.
I don't know what does.
I'm only
just running away
using
with
natural light as well, so it's going to be dark in a minute, and you're not going to even see me anymore.
so I got a couple interesting observations. We got no thrilling, chilling songs, and we got no riff songs across these 4 nights.
I think that's probably just a coincidence, but it's
Coincidence,
That's strange. To
Not
me.
getting a
So not like-
wedge. Not getting a wedge over these 4 nights was very shocking. Like very, very shocking to me because that's just like I mean that's like a given at Dick's. Like in Colorado, like I don't know, you just always get a wedge and in a run, like a 4-night run.
Actually, it was not one of the songs that they had played every year.
I know it was. It's not, but it feels like it is because it's just always there. Like I mean,
It just
Always.
makes sense.
Right in the second
Right.
set where you least expect it.
totally.
Ever since they did that one in '93 at Red Rocks, when they brought it back they dropped that beginning it used to have,
Mhm.
and they did the reworking of it or whatever. It just belongs in Colorado.
It does, yeah.
And
It's how I
then
felt. It's
Colorado
just weird.
band did it. String Cheese covered it.
But I will say, yeah, they did. That's true. But we did get a lot of other, like, I mean, that Fee and Slay. There was a lot of, I felt like 1.0 sprinkled throughout this whole thing, and a lot of like Junta this weekend, which was nice, and like a lot of good stuff. But that Fee Slave was a great encore. I mean,
I thought they were going to jam Fee for a whole 7 seconds.
that would have been great.
Now when they did first 2, great opener. Bathtub was okay. I want to jump
We're
to
on
Undermine.
Sunday now.
I tell you what, they started doing Undermined, and the first thing I thought was, will they do one like they did before at Dick's? And
No.
No.
I know,
They
and
can't top that.
I wish my head didn't go there and just.
Oh, my head always goes there, but yeah, no.
Yeah, because the bar's been set. It's just like like a loving cup. You're not going to hear like that loving cup from St. Louis again. Like there's certain ones that that was the pinnacle of it, and you're probably never going to get that version of it again. So
Northerly Wedge, like.
yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
Samples jammed again, so.
I was not happy with this first set. I'll just get that out there.
Gin was solid. And
The
let me
Haley's
tell
was so
you-
short. They could have skipped doing more and just done Haley's for a long time.
I mean,
Yeah,
the fluff is great, but it took a lot to get to that fluff. Like that, it was a long, long roundabout way to get there. But at least you got there. But that was a rough track to get to that fluff.
I don't
Yeah,
like
you
having
know-
everything's right and more paired next to each other.
Okay, but this everything's right. It's like 11 minutes long, but holy shit. Like,
It was worth the 11 minutes. Sure.
but like no, but the Bliss jam, like the major key jam that they get into in this everything's right is so good. Reminded me of the Tweezer from MSG in April a little bit. Similar kind of like shorter jam, but like just absolutely soaring major key thing.
I
It
think
had this
that's
kind
been
of
they've done that pretty
two-chord
much all
theme.
summer
yeah,
with
but-
Everything's Right.
Yeah, Everything's Right has not lived up to its 2021 this year, I don't think.
Not
Just like
Phoenix.
Blaze On.
That
Blaze On.
Phoenix,
had,
that
you know,
Phoenix, everything's right is still like again talking about pinnacle ones like that Phoenix
No,
one last fall.
Dick's
was
last year.
Dick's last year.
Dick's
Yeah, that
last
was a
year is the
good one.
GOAT. Phoenix is probably number 2 for me. That was a great show.
The
Also.
fluff head was well executed.
Yeah, it's you're going.
There's nothing
Fluff.
like when they go back into Fluffhead at the end and the lights come up on everybody. That's
Best
a moment.
happiest moment in music.
It's like the white lights. Fluff, Golgi, and Possum have the white, like the pinnacle white lights for Phish. Like they're just the best. So yeah, always.
Then we had a night.
Open it with "Set Your Soul Free." Set to what you're hoping. I didn't think it went like it usually does. It was kind of
It was okay.
It was okay.
But I will say
I don't mind that one as much as the other soul song.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I don't mind it. I think it usually jams and gets there, which is great. Which I always
it's had a really good summer.
But then our friend, so like my buddies, my crew, we had kind of had the rail all 4 nights. Like somebody from our crew, at least one person got the lottery every night, so we were always down there. And our buddy, who we call Fuego Jeff, because he's this old guy, he's like in his like late 70s, 80s, and he always wears the Fuego red shirt. He did it a couple years ago, and Trey played it when he was on the rail. And we had him moved him up to the rail that night, like after whatever it was, and like had him go stand up there after Set Your Soul Free. And sure enough, like Trey saw him and went into Fuego again. It was great. Like made his night, made him so happy.
And then I think they did the weirdest turn of the whole weekend with A Life Beyond the Dream. I mean,
into then cross-eyed. So it was like such a weird.
It's a good payoff. I'll take Life Beyond the Dream if it's going to result in a cross-eyed.
Again, though, yes, you were paying your dues to get some of these songs, and then a Bowie, like again, so awesome, like so good.
Yeah, I feel like cross-eye's been pretty rare lately. I guess it's third performance of the year, but it just felt like a while.
And it came on hard. Fishman remembers those lyrics. He likes that song.
Yeah, he actually has a teleprompter.
Oh, well, there you go.
They're also, Kev, I don't know if you noticed, but like a solid chunk of the men in our section, as soon as Cross-Eyed started, took off their shirts. Apparently, this is tradition. But I was not aware.
I didn't know this.
Really?
One me.
Next time.
I thought I heard the guy behind me say something about that. Time for the shirt to come off.
Yep.
Interesting. And then Bowie, I guess they put their shirts back on.
I think some of them did.
But they had to be quick or they would have missed that intro because it was like 3 seconds long.
Yeah.
Can I get some hi-hat for a minute, 2 minutes? Something?
The tease, I was like, what you like? Like, I know, it definitely, the suspense was not there.
Bowie was amazing.
Oh, Bowie, they nailed it. The Alpine one was really, really good. And I think it was like a warm-up for this one. I think that was the highlight of the set for me.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
But the end of Bowie is one of my favorite things in all of Fishdom. When
they go back into it and then do it a few times and then it's so good.
It's this fucking Iron Maiden lick.
So good. So
and
good. And then
Loving
Cup. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Loving Cup I like the song.
Same.
Yeah.
And it's a great song for a wolf to throw his arms up and say, I'm a man from the mountains.
Exactly. And then you get your Divided Sky, Iculus, Character Zero, which for sure thought they were spelling dicks or something on there, and like the whole Divided PI and everything. But
I thought we were done after Divided Sky because he was like, thank you, it's been so great.
Yeah.
And then they kept going and they're playing Iculus all of a sudden.
They got so close.
It was a weird
dicks.
It was such a weird Iculus though, like you said, Kev, like Divided Sky, and then you just kind of threw it in there, and then like the part of the song where it's like it just stopped, and then they were like, okay, and now it's Zero, and you're like, oh, Zero? That's how we're going out of here, huh? All right. Straight love this
At
rock
least give me a Kong. Give me a Kong to
Kong
end with.
simple,
So again, it was a lot of like, I thought the first 2 nights, regardless of night 1 is what it is, but it had some solid jams in there. Night 2 was the best show I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
And then the next 2 nights were great musically. It just felt a little disjointed in places with the way the set list was kind of constructed and put together. But overall, I thought the run was one of the better Dick's runs as far as the way they played and the cohesiveness. And like we said, they didn't get too far out there with some of the jams, but what they did do was really spectacular and kind of special with some of those songs. So solid time.
They're enjoying themselves, I think.
They are. We were enjoying ourselves. Like, talk about getting to see everybody. Like Night 0 at Taper's Choice with everybody that came out was fucking incredible.
And Sunday was a really great show because we had friends in town for one show. And hanging with them made it that much cooler.
as always, like being there is always better than.
Yes.
And like for me too, coming home Saturday and watching it on the TV was such a weird come down. You're like, oh, all my friends are
I was
there,
right there yesterday,
and I'm here. And like I had a 6:45 flight out of Denver, so I just stayed up all night. We went back to my buddy's house and just did balloons. Like we had a tank, so I did balloons until I left, and then flying and getting home. My mind was so jacked up because then I just stayed up the rest of the day until the show, and then went to bed after the show, and I was hallucinating madly by the time
So you were
at night.
You were awake for like
30 something. Yeah.
After and you saw a Phish show and did a lot of drugs in that. Oh God.
Yeah, it was an interesting.
I caught a 5
took me back to my
flight.
youth.
Caught a 5 a.m. flight Monday. I was back in Baltimore by noon.
Which is the way to do it, and then you're home and you can
yeah, but then I'm looking at everybody going out into the bar, and I'm like, I wish I was at the bar.
Yeah, I know. Looking at everybody in Colorado too, like Ben's and stuff. You're like, oh, I'm so jealous. You're already home. You're just chilling. Like,
I know I haven't even cleaned up yet from the run, and I probably will tomorrow. But it's been nice to not have to worry about it, to like rush and get out of someone's Airbnb.
Right.
Totally, and enjoy it a little bit. It's nice.
All right, so we're gonna close up. Come back the 21st. The Wookiees, look for those announcements. We're on Twitter, Wook Plus. Find us on Instagram. You can catch up with everything. Ryan's got stormy weather, even though he's pointing at the bathroom.
I mentioned the Wookiees, so I was pointing at Ben's. It's mirrored. I don't know how to point properly.
The Wookiees pointing at Ben's.
You messed up my rhythm.
Sorry.
And I want everybody down below, subscribe, like this video, go like any of our videos. There's a little bell. Once you subscribe, you hit that. Every time we do something, you're going to get a notification because we know everyone loves notifications. And thank you, Benz. Thank you, Ryan, for coming on.
Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. And we will see you soon.
Take care out there. Bye.